This podcast is part of the C-Suite Radio Network, turning the volume up on business.
Welcome to the Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer. Join us as Deb talks with her guests, experts in their fields, as they share real-life stories and techniques to power up your business.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses successful. And today we're going to have so much fun because we're going to be talking to a very specific industry about how to start a business and how to make sure that a business functions. But of course, it applies to everybody. There's no secrets. There's nothing that it really applies just to, one company or one industry. So, pay attention no matter what. This is going to be great information. So please join me today in welcoming Carmen Dellutri to our program today. Welcome, Carmen.
Well, thank you very much, Deb. How are you today?
I am doing just fabulous. We're recording this on a Monday morning, and I still haven't had enough coffee, but we'll have a good time doing this anyway.
Sounds great.
Let me tell people just a little bit about you, and then we will jump into this, because now I'm sure they're really wondering, what the heck are they going to be talking about? So Carmen Dellutri is the managing partner of the Dellutri Law Group. He started the Dellutri Law Group over 20 years ago with a mission and a vision. The mission was to help clients make excellent legal decisions today, which coincide with their plans for the future. They do this by really getting to know their clients and their wants, needs, and plans for the future. The vision was to create a law firm which is not only profitable, but provides everyone who works there with a better quality of life. By using technology to its advantage as well as state-of-the-art case management software, the firm achieves this vision daily. So again, Carmen, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. I appreciate it.
Great. Well, let's go back. I'm always interested. Now, I looked you up on LinkedIn, of course, and looked at your website. Holy schmoly, you've got a lot of training and a lot of degrees. So clearly law is your passion. But how did you decide that was something that you really, really wanted to focus on?
It's a kind of a long story. If you want it, I'll be more than happy to tell you.
Perfect.
Okay. I grew up in New Jersey, in a little city outside of Newark called Hillside. Hillside had one major intersection, and my dad had a gas station on the corner. It was actually handed down from my grandfather down to my dad. Anyway, across the street, there was a 7-Eleven, and right next to the 7-Eleven, there was a lawyer's office.
Okay.
And I would see people going into the lawyer's office, and they were always dressed up and serious. And yeah, exactly. And here I am, a kid, probably 5 years old, working for my dad, and I'm covered in dirt from head to toe from working on cars, changing tires, blah, blah, blah. And I'd say, Dad, what is it about people wear like their church clothes to go see the lawyer? He goes, well, sometimes they need help with their legal problems. And I'm like, what are legal problems? And he's like, well, they go to the lawyer to help them sort out issues that they can't deal with on their own. I was like, oh, so when their car's broken down, they come see us.
Right.
He goes, same thing, but the lawyer don't get his hands dirty. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, the lawyer works with his head and not with his hands. And that's what I want you to do. And I was like, okay. And he goes, he probably makes a lot more money too. So I was like, well, hey, I got that going. I can stay clean and do this.
No grease under my nails, lots of money.
Right. As time goes by, my dad decided to sell the gas station and move to Florida. Nobody thought he was ever going to do that, but he did. So he asked me, do you want to take over the gas station, buy me out, and, I'm moving to Florida. Let me think. I'm 17, 18 years old, New Jersey, snow, girls in bikinis in Florida. I'm going to Florida.
Right.
I moved to Florida. It was a simple transaction. So we left New Jersey, but the idea was still there. But the question is, how do you get there? Well, I didn't know. So I started going to college, and then through college, I said, okay, maybe I'll take the LSAT. And my roommate said, well, I'm thinking about taking the LSAT. So we signed up together, and we wound up taking the LSAT. And then I applied to law school, got into the first one that took me, and boom, took it. I ran. And that was like the way it happened. It was kind of a plan, but not thoroughly thought out plan, just thinking, hey, if I get in, I'll go. If I don't, I'll do something else.
Right.
So that got me to law school, and then beyond.
Well, and it's funny because I think that's what a lot of us do. We're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. I'll try this for a while. I'll try that for a while, and and then we do kind of some jump around, and do various things or do a variety of something in that area. But it's so interesting because we often go into it without, as you said, a lot of thought. It's just like, well, that sounds fun. That sounds like a cool thing to do. And then we get to school and, we're learning that trade, that skill, we're gathering that knowledge. And then and whether it's a true trade school, or a university college, things like that, you get that industry specific information and then you're thrust out there. Go, do, make money, pay off your student loans, and be happy.
That's
and
the plan.
Problem is we don't get a good foundation as to what to do. Now, if you go to work for somebody else, that's one thing. But if you really think, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start my own business, we don't get that foundation. And we've talked about that a lot on this program for small business owners and entrepreneurs who think, okay, I've got this great idea for product or service and I'm going to start this business, but I don't know how to start a business. And I think with the professions like doctor, attorney, some of those that really take a lot of school and a lot of very specific knowledge. I mean, those are skills and things that really can't be learned in a couple semesters, right? But they skip the whole here's how to start a business thing. So tell us a little bit more about that, because that really is kind of one of your passions.
Well, that's really what the funny part was when I got to law school.
Mm-hmm.
I realized, okay, now I've just upped my game and now I'm in a different place and, I'm not uncomfortable. I knew I could compete, but I also knew that not having a plan was not a good strategy going forward. Mm-hmm. So you're right. In law school, the curriculum's pretty much set. Mm-hmm. You can take a few electives, but if you're an entrepreneurial individual, you really want to start planning for the future, saying, okay, what do I really want to do? Well, my goal was to become an international trade attorney. In other words, I'd be flying all over the world. So I went after law school. I went and I got my master's of law in international law, trade, and finance. Perfect. I got a plan. I went and took the New York bar exam, figuring I got to be working out of New York.
Right.
And I got there and I said to myself, and that's where the plan went. It took a quick left turn to me because I realized I do not want to be up here anymore.
You'd moved from there.
So the plan changed overnight. Came back. I talked to my dad. He started laughing. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? What's your plan? And I was like, well, I'm going to take the Florida bar exam and maybe set up shop down here. And he's like, perfect. What's your plan? And we kept going. What's your plan? What's your plan? What's your plan? And basically that was the start of now, all right, I need a strategic plan. If I'm going to start my own law firm, okay, I have business skills from what I learned from his gas station, but are they going to be the skills necessary that I need to propel me in the future? Right. So that's when I went to the local university and got an MBA, Master of Business Administration, where I learned accounting, statistics, all the things that I was going to need. Now I had the law skills, I was building those skills up, but I didn't have the business skills that I was going to need to run the business. And that's two different skill sets. See, I represent a lot of trades, plumbers, electricians, even grass cutting, lawn companies. Those guys are excellent at what they do. What they lose is their ability to run the business. So what gets put off on the end? Well, they're going to take care of their customers all week long, but on the weekend, when they should be doing their numbers, they're not. That's the relaxation time. That's their me time. And again, I'm sure you've heard this from hundreds of people. Well, guess what? Lawyers are the same way. Lawyers are good at working on client files. But when it comes to doing their own work, their own accounting, their own numbers and counting how many people are calling, why are they coming in, when are they coming in, they're not really that good at it, or they don't have the staff to do it, or they don't put systems in place and processes in place to make those jobs happen because you need those numbers. That's where I see a lot of small attorneys, and I say small, usually 1 or 2 man attorneys, shops, they don't want to do the business side of it, and they keep it simple and they keep it small. That's good for some people, but that's never going to get you the quality of life you want or you think you want when you went into that business.
Right.
You forget that in the daily grind. You forget about it. Wait, I started my own business because I wanted a better quality of life. I mean, let's think about it. 70% of lawyers are unhappy with being a lawyer.
Oh,
that's insane. Yeah. I'm not one of them. And I don't want any of my attorneys being one of them.
Right. And I love the fact that that really is one of your goals. I mentioned it in your introduction, that you want to make sure that the people who work with and for you are happy also. And I think we sometimes that gets lost in the process. And I love it when I've had my guests on in the past who have really talked about being stewards for their business and, making sure that their employees are happy. And in some industries, it's not that you have somebody long-term. It's just not that type of industry. But we do want to have long-term employees where we can, because, of course, it is less expensive. We all know that there's a huge cost when we have somebody who leaves and then we have to replace them, and that might or might not work out, and blah, blah. And so it's better just to keep the people that are doing a great job. And it's really not that hard to make sure that they're happy, but you have to make an effort at it. And I love that is very much a primary goal of your firm, is to make sure your employees are happy.
Right. That's important. It's really important. I mean, obviously, I spend probably more time with my office manager, my marketing director, and some of my key attorneys than I do with my family sometimes.
Right.
I mean, if I'm spending 40 hours a week there, I might see my family 3 or 4 hours a night, and then on weekends. So if you're just on the weekdays, I'm clearly spending more time at work.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So obviously, that's one part of their life. But our office policy is at 5 o'clock, you go home because you have a life. So I'm not going to take time away from you and your family. Now, there are times when I have to ask you to stay and work overtime.
Right. There are just times where work needs to be done.
Correct. And, my family understands that. Their families understand that. But again, at 5 o'clock, I want everybody out the door. Get out. Go do. I don't care if you're just going home and watching. Yeah. I don't care if you're just going home and watching The Bachelorette. I don't care. You're doing it. You're going home. I want you downtime. This way, when you come back in the morning, you're refreshed.
Right.
I don't want you thinking about work. Just go home and enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life.
Right. And we still go home and think about it. I mean, that's just the nature of whatever it is. Even if you don't like your job, you're probably going home and still thinking about it. Actually, you're probably thinking about it more. But yeah, we still have those thoughts that are going through. But to know, okay, you know what, I'm not having to take all of my file folders home, and all these various things. And I think that's very hard when you are the business owner, and the business founder, is drawing those boundaries. And I discovered, when I started my business, and I've been in business now over 20 years also, I had to really develop those boundaries, and say, okay, I have office hours. And I'm a little bit different because, in fact, most, especially attorneys, you're going to have a physical office that you're going to. Well, my office is, my spare bedroom that I've converted, but it's still my office. And I think that was one of the keys. It's my office, and I have office hours. Now, am I working at 10 o'clock at night? Sure. Am I thinking about something on the weekends? Sure. But more importantly, it was for my clients to know, here's my office hours. You may contact me between here and here. Now, obviously, if there's an emergency, that's different. But,
exactly.
But I tell them, if you contact me on a Saturday and expect something to be done that could wait, I will do it on that Saturday, but it's going to cost you twice as much. And by darn, don't they figure out it can wait till Monday. But yeah, it is about setting those boundaries as that business owner, and letting the people around you know it too. The people, we mentioned families. It's people often will think, especially for someone who has a home-based business, well, you're home, therefore you should be able to be doing the laundry, doing the shopping. Can't you go out to a movie with me? That was one of the hardest things, was telling my friends, no, I am working. No, you're working from home. You're playing. No.
No,
and so setting all of those boundaries and guidelines. And then, of course, as you get bigger, Because that is, for many people, they want to just stay the one person, that's fine. But many people really do want to grow their business. So if they've started with having those guidelines, those hours, all of those things that we are talking about, then as they get bigger, it's much easier to implement them and keep them going.
Correct. It's and again, we found that I've been up to 10 attorneys and almost 50 employees, and I realized I didn't like it as much as the size we're at now.
Right.
This is my soft spot. This is where I have personally the best quality of life. I didn't have that quality of life because bigger in our practice wasn't always better, or we didn't have the right people on staff. So it was kind of like a learning process for me too. I mean, for the last 20 years, my business has been, we've been learning, and it's a constant evolutionary process, but you got to take those baby steps to get going in the right direction. Otherwise, you're going in the wrong direction. And that's where I think a lot of people, they make that mistake. And again, I see some great businesses out there that just tank because of the business owner making bad decisions because he didn't have a plan. And that's a problem. So, if you have a good business, take the time, carve it out of your day to make sure you're getting the skills you need to turn that business to $1 million, to $3 million, to a $5 million business. That's important.
Right. And whether it's a true employee or you're outsourcing, and
Yes, yes.
frankly, unless you are a large organization, you're not going to have in-house HR, in-house finance. I mean, all those various things. And so it's important to build that team of trusted people. You and I were talking before the program. I hate taxes. I hate doing my taxes. And luckily, I have a really good person who does my taxes that we trust. And now granted, I always tell people, there are some things, I might not always follow the speed limit or, some little things like that, but I don't ever mess with the IRS. I mean, they took down Capone, so now,
bad idea.
But yeah, it's like, okay, but I need that person. And I always tell people when you're starting out your business, you need an attorney. Even if you're just paying them for an hour's worth of time to make sure you're setting up your business correctly, that's what you need to do.
I think more importantly than that, and let me interrupt you, I'm sorry. I think more importantly than that, Deb, is that when you're setting up your business, one thing you need to understand is you think about for 5 minutes, what if this business fails? Am I protecting my family? Am I protecting my wife? Am I protecting my kids? Am I protecting my house? And I've seen young, kind of maybe even 30s, 40s entrepreneurs make bad decisions because the bank says, oh, I need your wife to sign this, co-sign this loan agreement. Oh, honey, come in and sign this. Exactly. And I've seen other ones who said no. And it's, well, the bank said she had to sign it. Then go to another bank. Find a way to protect your family. And it's funny because a lot of people come to me and say, Carmen, I wish I would have known you before I started this business. So the best advice I can give anybody starting a business is find the best bankruptcy lawyer in town and take him to lunch or for coffee and say, I got a couple questions, and take him to lunch and ask him questions and see, how do I protect myself in case the business doesn't do as well as I anticipate?
Well, and obviously there are some businesses that, you mentioned you deal with plumbers, landscapers, all of those. I mean, there's a whole different level of things you need to be dealing with there. And that's, insurance, liability, all of those various things. And the person who's just doing landscaping, hey, I'm going to mow people's lawns on the side to make extra money. That's great if you're 12, but when you're, much older than that, if something happens, you really could lose your house, your car, everything. And it's, I think the misperception that a lot of people have, and this is part of this whole, we don't get educated about it. We don't get the education we need. Is in a lot of cases, this is a simple process. We think, oh my gosh, it's complicated. Now, to establish a business, it's really pretty simple, and fairly inexpensive, varies state to state. I discovered that when we moved, all of those various things, but it's simple. You'll love this. When I started my company 25-ish years ago, lived in Colorado, worked for attorneys at that time. But I was a smart kid anyway, so I knew I needed to do this. But this is, this is before the internet really did stuff. So you actually had to go to your Secretary of State. So I trotted down to my Secretary of State's office, and I was just going to start as a sole proprietor, and obviously lots of different things you can be doing and all these various things, and filled out my paperwork, gave her my check for $30. She goes boogity, boogity, boogity on her computer. And she literally handed me a receipt that's, like 2 inches wide, 3 inches long from like one of the old registers. And she says, there, you're a business. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was expecting trumpets and confetti and all of these various things, but I really did think it was going to be much more complicated, and that was it. But I did things in advance, and like I said, I work for attorneys, and so I could ask them various things, and so I had researched the company name, made sure I wasn't infringing on anybody else's name. I knew what type of business I wanted to start, all those various things. But yeah, it really wasn't complicated. And now you do it all on the internet. And there's, but again, you need to talk to an attorney on this, because you can incorporate in different states, depending on what you're doing, all of these various things, there are a lot of options. And so go ahead and as we said, buy them lunch. Don't pick their brain for free. We've had other things. No picking for free. But pay for an hour of their time and say, okay, help me, walk me through this process.
Right. I think it's a great idea. And again, it's just, even if you're just, what you'll learn is that there's a lot more out there for you to be thinking about. Right. Not that we're going to we're going to load you down with information and say you need to do this, or checklists, and you got to get all this done before you run your business. Worry about marketing, worry about advertising. No. Just think it through each step of the way. Right. And really, the one thing I tell all my business owners is set some time aside on Saturday and just think about your business and think about where you want to go with it, what you want to do with it. Even if it's 30 minutes, just set it aside, piece of paper and a pencil, and just write out what did you accomplish this week, and what did you want to accomplish next week. Start creating a plan, and this way you know where you want to go. And again, it's difficult to set that time aside when the phone's there or the iPad's there, or your emails are coming through, or you got to get on Facebook. Anyway,
right.
So you didn't find me on Facebook, did you?
I did. I found you on Facebook.
Yeah.
But
I can honestly say I've never been on it.
Yeah, and it's funny because it like you said, focusing on that time, and I train people on how to use social media for business. And one of the things I tell them is set a timer, because we all go, oh, cute video. Oh, yeah, squirrel. No, when you're there, focus on that. And so same thing with what you're saying. When you're spending that 30 minutes doing your review of the week and planning for the upcoming week, turn everything else off, shut yourself wherever you need to so that you're not having those distractions. And, and what you'll find is it really does take much less time than you're expecting. It might take a little while once you're started, but I think one of the important things, we don't know that we're successful if we don't know how to get there. Did we meet our goals? Goals? What do you mean? Goals? I had goals. And so we have to have that kind of roadmap before we even know, okay, this was successful, this wasn't, we're going to have to detour, let's do something different here. But we can't be a successful business if we don't. And what are the stats? Half of all small businesses fail. It might even
within
be
the first 5 years.
Yeah. And it's probably one of those things that's actually a higher number because people haven't, as we said, they haven't really set up as a business and all of those things. And then they just decided, hey, this isn't going to work. So, why not take the steps to make sure that you're in that other 50% to survive more than 5 years?
Right. And I think so. And again, as we were, discussing before, lawyers are kind of unique because when lawyers go out to lunch together, they don't ask each other how their business is doing.
Right.
They talk about their cases. Hey, I had this case. I was in front of this judge, and this is what happened. But they don't say, by the way, is your marketing plan working? Are you meeting your goals?
What do you do on your website?
They don't do that. And again, it's fear. It's, I don't want somebody else to know that I'm not as successful as them, or it's self-image. It's just even a mindset where if they're worried about what everybody else thinks, as opposed to saying, I'm just going to stay focused and sail my ship, and I'm not worried about what everybody else thinks.
Right.
Maybe, I guess it was one of my faults, my wife says, is that you don't care what anybody else thinks. Nope, I really don't. I'm kind of narrow-minded that way, saying if I fail, it's my fault. And if I succeed, well, then good. We move on to the next project. Right. I don't stand around and celebrate. I don't get trumpets or ribbon cutting because I don't care. I just know where I want to be next. And I get so focused on where I want to be next that I don't really worry about the rest. Now, have we made mistakes? Tons of them. Every business owner is going to make mistakes. Guess what? You learn how not to do it. You know, you learn, I can't do that anymore. That didn't work. But can we make it better? Or how do we make it better? What can we do next so that we don't run into that problem again?
Right.
And that's where the light bulb comes on. I mean, if you try a TV commercial and it flops miserably, so what? You know, you eat your loss and you move on. How can I make it better?
Right.
What did somebody like about it? Who called from it? Let's call them and see what they liked about it, rather than saying, oh yeah, the TV, it's just too expensive. It doesn't work for me. I mean, that's crazy thinking in my behalf, because something just didn't work right away. Well, you can fix things if you really think about them. But if you just go, well, that doesn't work for me, well, then you're just giving up. And it's not really in my nature to do that.
Right. Well, one of the interesting things about attorneys, it just kind of in general, is the whole marketing idea. You know, and you know, do we have a website? Do we, you know, do we have television ads? All these various things. And, you know, we, in many cases, we as the consumers have this concept that, you know, it's the ambulance chasers who are going to advertise. You know, and granted, I mean, you know, when I see the billboards, that really is it. Have you been hurt? Have you been injured? You know, all of those various things. But, you know, we all need to get our message out there, you know, because otherwise, how does somebody know to come to us if they don't know we exist? But do you find that as an attorney, it is you do have a unique set of circumstances to get your message out there?
Well, we're, depending on which state you're in, you're regulated by what you can actually say, what your message can say. Now, that would be nice if all attorneys played by the rules. Some don't.
Right.
Some, you know, in Florida, we have to have all of our ads approved by the Florida bar. Well, some attorneys like me do, and some attorneys don't.
Right.
So some
figure, they won't pay attention or whatever.
Correct. But the public has to perceive it in a way that they can build trust, respect, and say, yeah, that's somebody I think I might want to hire. Now, if you're limited to saying, I can get you maximum compensation for your injuries, makes it kind of difficult unless, you know, you change the message. I got balloons, I got the trumpets. So yeah, you got to create the unique way of doing it. What we focus on is a little bit different. We build from within. So our marketing message is, you know, right now, we don't run TV commercials, we don't run billboards, we don't run traditional advertising. What we do is we market to our current clients. We found that we've already built a great relationship with them, and they want to help us. I mean, and I know it sounds crazy, but we've got hundreds of 5-star reviews across the internet, which is fantastic because people want to tell other people, you know, had a great experience with that law firm. Well, that means a lot to new clients coming in the door, but it also means a lot when they've heard our name. So we stay in touch with our past clients, and we stay in touch with a lot of attorneys who build referral partners with us, people we know, we like, and trust. So if you call me and say, Carmen, I need a divorce lawyer, and I'm going to say, whoa, I'm not your guy, but I can get you to Barbara or Bob or Kim, and they can handle your case. And I know that they're going to be treated just as good as the way we treated them. So that I've got that, and I've got that connection. That means a lot to people. When you're willing to extend your network to them, they're willing to share their network with you. And that's something we've learned over time to help build our practice in a way that it's good. We're not fighting for clients like other law firms are. So we don't have that traditional problem. Now, again, that's because we've made a decision to not go that other route. Might I run a billboard in the next month or two? I might, just to try it out and see what I get out of it as a result of it. and then gauge the return on investment. But that's a calculated decision.
Right.
That's not just a, hope and pray method, which most attorneys rely on. Oh, guess what? My SEO guy came over today and he said, if I run $1,000 a month on Google AdWords, I'll be rich. That's what most attorneys do. And
no, the SEO guy's getting rich.
It's like the old Yellow Page guys. It's just a new decade.
Right.
Again, they prey on lawyers' fears.
Right. And that comes back to you, and then whoever we are. We have to know, okay, what is SEO? Should I be concerned about it? All of those various things, and that is where it's it gets complicated, and we all think, oh my gosh, there's so many things I have to learn. But let's be honest, is part of being that business owner, being that CEO, whatever it is. You just have to know these things.
Well, what I think more importantly is what we were talking about before. You don't have to know everything. I don't know anything about social media, yet we're all over Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter.
You've got great people.
What we did, exactly, and we find the right people who do know that stuff. Heck, we even have a Pinterest. I don't even know what Pinterest is, but we have one, and I thought it was great when I found out we had one. I don't know what it is, but we got one. Right. And if I can make a connection on Pinterest that helps somebody, fantastic. But I won't know if I don't explore the channel. If I've never been on it or opened up an account or done something with it, there might be people out there who need somebody like me. But if I'm not in their network, then I'm not there, and they'll never find me. So it's not something you have to learn like you're doing your own taxes. I got a guy, and that's all you know to do. I got a guy to do that, or a gal.
Yeah. And the important thing is to know who it is that you're trying to reach. And so you really have to fine tune, okay, this is my market. And one of the things that I always cringe at is when I ask someone, who's a good client for you? Oh, anyone. No, and it doesn't matter what business you are. Everyone is not your potential client. Could they be?
Correct.
Okay, maybe, but you need to find that niche and really go after them. That's why attorneys have particular types of practice. You're not, like you said, you don't take on divorce law. You're not a criminal attorney. That's not your niche. And so once we figure that out, then we know more about where to market to them. Might not be social media. Maybe it is billboards. I mean, if you're an attorney who is dealing with car injuries, billboard might be one of the best places you want to be, or the bus sides, all those various things. So it's important to figure that out. But I want to come back to what you were saying before, and that's that word of mouth. If we can't rely on our current or past clients to say good things about us, then we have an issue. Now, are we going to please everybody? No. But we want those people who liked us to pass that information on. Now, it's a little touchy sometimes with what somebody does, because they might not even want to admit that it happened. But, let's go back to say doctors. I mean, you might not want to tell somebody that you had to go see a urologist, or, all those various things. But, still, if somebody is asking, then it's okay, to do that. And we want our clients to know, hey, you can say good things about us, and so it's very important to have that word of mouth. Especially in an industry,
and then, what?
Where it's hard to advertise.
You know what I found? Right. You know what I found? That people will do that for you. As long as you ask to say, were you 100% happy with the service? Absolutely.
Right.
And we have a series of questions we go through at our exit interview. I don't know any attorneys who do exit interviews, but we have a series of questions that we ask them. Say, what are we doing that you really loved? What are we doing that you hated? And what are we doing that we should stop doing right now?
Yeah, don't ever do again.
And our marketing director does those because I don't think people would be 100% honest with me sometimes, saying, oh well, there was that one time where Barbara didn't return my phone call. I want to know about that, because if Barbara didn't return a phone call, that makes us look bad. Right. So again, Barbara's not going to get fired. depending on how many phone calls she misses. No, I'm just kidding. But the point of it is that I want them to be 100% honest with us in their feedback so that we can take that and make changes. And again, we're not perfect, and there's no such thing as a perfectly run business. And I can think of just 2 weeks ago, a gentleman brought an issue to my attention. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't know that, but I'm going to fix it right now.
Right.
It was just something that mattered to him. But how many people didn't say something? That's what I'm worried about.
Right.
You know, other people may have had this and say, oh, no, it's not a big deal. But to him, it was like, well, Carmen, what about this? And I'm like, that's a great, I'll fix that. I can fix that easily, make everybody's life easier. Light bulb goes on, and the next day, done.
Right. There's
now it's
no
going to be easier for everybody.
thing. You know, so if one person is feeling that pain, somebody else is feeling it too.
Right. And again, the first thing this morning, I came in, I talked to my sounding board is my marketing director and my office manager. And those two women will tell me if I'm nuts or if they'll tell me that's a great idea. So I brought an idea to them this morning and they both loved it, which means that I've got the green light now to implement this. It's not going to harm anybody. It's not going to make anybody uncomfortable. They're kind of my emotional stability. And they'll tell me, Carmen, you went off the deep edge on this one. Or Carmen, I like that idea and I think it'll work. Great. Implement it like that. We don't have to go through a chain of command. It's done. It'll be done probably in 2 weeks and everybody will get the benefit out of it. And it's kind of another just way of making the client feel comfortable when they come in the door.
Right.
And it's just another little touch that they're going to remember us for the rest of their lives. Where other attorneys, they greet you at the front door and say, wait in the conference room, the attorney will be right here. Okay?
And you're sitting in there going.
Yes, exactly. And now we've got something which I think is going to leave an impression that these people are going to go home and put it on Facebook. Say, I went to an attorney's office this morning and here's what happened to me.
Right.
Or I went to my attorney and look what I got. And it's just kind of those little ideas that change and bring down the walls a little bit. Because when people go see an attorney, there are, you know, some people come in, again, you've been in business 25 years by yourself, but some people come in and they'll just spill their guts. Other people are a little bit guarded. And it's up to us to break down those walls and really get that information. You know, in an initial consultation, I'm doing one of two things. I'm being interviewed by that person to see if I'm the right person for the job. On the flip side, I also want to make sure that I can meet expectations and develop a client relationship that's going to last beyond the current representation. Again, part of our goal and our vision is to make sure that we're building relationships, helping people solve their problems, but also finding out that those problems are part of their plan for the future. If I solve a problem today, but it doesn't help in the future, it's not good.
Right.
I mean, especially for a personal injury client, I can hand you a bag of money today and you walk out the door and you can blow it. And it happens, unfortunately.
Right.
I don't want to see that happen, but it does. So we've got a little bit of a longer vision, but it starts right at the beginning when that person walks through, even when the person makes the call to the law firm, that's where the business starts happening.
Right, right. You know, and especially when you're in an industry where people are a little hesitant to start with, or things are literally going wrong or have gone disastrous.
Exactly.
You know, and so there's a very different set of expectations that are there. But I love it. There's a commercial running down here in Atlanta where they do the mother philosophy. They want to treat everyone like they are their mother. And I mean, well, for some people that might not work, but you know, that is kind of the thing. We need to think of them as our family and treat them well, you know, because like I said, it comes back to word of mouth and Facebook, Twitter, all of those various things, because if they're not happy, they're going to talk about it. You know, but as you said, well, the important thing is if they're happy, we really want them to talk about it. You know, and so, you know, it's important to let people know, hey, we're on Facebook, you know, let people know that you liked us, all these various things, respond to our surveys. and and let us know what's going on. Make and incentivize that. I mean, and obviously, there are some restrictions depending on some of the industries that you're in. So you might not be able to say, hey, we're going to do a drawing of the people, and you're going to win a gift card or something like that. But there are certainly ways. And there are just little things that you can do. Saying thank you when somebody leaves. I'm in Atlanta, where Chick-fil-A is based, and whether you like chicken or not, whether you like their business philosophy or not, the fact that they are all taught good customer service, to say, it's my pleasure to serve you. I notice when they don't say it. I actually asked one, it's not your pleasure. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, because they get penalized if they don't say it. But it's just that philosophy of always giving and always just making sure they're okay. And as a small business owner, we get caught up in, we got to go to the next client. We got to go to the next customer. We got to go to the next meeting. And we forget to say, oh my gosh, thank you. And what could we do to make it better? How could we earn your referral to your friends?
Right. I ask that all the time, and I preface it by saying, look, unless you're 100% ecstatic with the way you've been treated, I will never ask you for a referral.
Right.
But if you are 100% satisfied,
you're okay, but referrals.
Exactly. Or the biggest word I hate is fine. Everything's fine. Oh God, we failed. Fine to me is failed. I failed completely. Unless somebody says, when I ask them, I say, how are we doing? Tell me honestly. I'm the business owner. You've run a business before. You've owned a business. Tell me how we're doing. And they say, you guys are amazing, marvelous. Because I run back and I tell my staff, guys, this is what she said, and it was because of you, and you. Right. That's what she said. She told me this, or this gentleman said every time he calls. And I mean, I don't know many law firms that have clients who bring specific people flowers, candy. Just, I'm telling you, either we've got the greatest clients in the world, or the relationship means so much to them. It obviously means everything in the world to us, but it means so much to them that they feel the need to contribute. I mean, and again, I don't want to go off topic, but here's something that I love. Every year we sponsor Toys for Tots. We're a drop-off location. We put out the call to our clients saying, hey, it's that time of year again. No matter how bad things are in your life, there's kids who may not have a toy to open up on Christmas. Would you consider helping us out? And I'm telling you, I can think of just one lady in particular who's had a pretty rough life, but every year she answers the call. And even if it's a few Barbie dolls, it just, I'm feeling goosebumps right now just thinking about it, how important it is to us as a firm, but how important it is for the children, but more importantly, how the clients are compelled to help us out because they know we're helping others. And it's that kind of feeling that drives you to want to help people. It's that kind of feeling that makes you want to be an attorney and run a business where people's lives are felt and changed on a daily basis. That to me is what life's living about. It's like what living life is all about.
Well,
it's emotional.
Yeah, for many businesses, they're thinking, how can I do that? Well, you still have an important role. I mean, no matter what it is that you're doing, because we're all told, marketing 101, solve someone's pain. And even if it is just that little 5-minute thing that you fixed for somebody, if you did it well, they're thinking, oh my gosh, that's great. And not every industry or business can make huge changes, but we can all make little changes. We were talking before the program aired that I always think it's very important to give back to your community in whatever way you can. And that does get hard sometimes because, I jokingly say there's only 28 hours in the day, but there are ways that you can give back and maybe it's that you serve on the board of your chamber or, that you read to kids. My husband works for what used to be ING. And when we were in Denver, one of the things that they did was they mentored and they tutored 8th grade math students because these are all actuaries, right? Math is like their thing. And some of those people got so attached that they went all the way through working with those kids in college.
That's awesome.
An hour every day. So it actually took 2 hours because they had to get there and, and then they worked with the kids for an hour every day. But that schedule was always full. We never had to really say, oh my gosh, we don't, we had wait lists, and because they got so much out of it, pertained in no way to their business or their job, but it made them feel good. And that comes back to what we were saying at the start. What can you do for your employees to make them feel that it's okay? And, I was looking through your website and you have a thing called Passion Project. And tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it was actually started by our marketing director, and she came to me with an idea and said, Carmen, you want everybody to get involved in the community. Mm-hmm. Why don't we say, hey, we're going to give you a day off so that you can go do that? Because it's hard to do during, but whatever you want. So we want to encourage them to not only get out in the community, but do something that really means a lot to them. And we have, obviously, anywhere you live, there's a need out there like you can't imagine. There's a need for pretty much everything. And if your passion is animals, you want to go to the shelter and just spend a day cleaning cages or feeding or just petting dogs or petting cats. That's passion, because that's a day out of your life that you're doing. And so each employee, and I hate to use that word employee, each member of the firm gets a day where they get to go out into the community and really do what they're passionate about. And we're fully on board with that. We want them. We want to encourage it. But
and it's a paid day. They're not taking a vacation day to do this.
No. That would, again, that's counterproductive. If that's really, if you're at a point in your life where you can't allow somebody a day, you're missing the point, because that person is going to come back rejuvenated, energized. They're going to promote your business while they're out. What's that worth? There's a value there. So really, I look at it as a value for them to go out in the community and promote the business. So I don't see it as a lost day of productivity. Unfortunately, it is, but we're going to make the work up. We're all going to share the load, and we're all going to get it done together. But everybody, it's kind of building a steamrolling effect. You know what I mean? That they're talking about it on their social media. And, I don't want to, it's a little bad in a way, because, well, I wish my company would have done that. How come my company doesn't do that? I work for a law firm. They won't let me leave 2 minutes early to go to the animal shelter. So too bad. Again, I don't have.
Next time we have an opening.
Exactly. I can't think about what everybody else is missing out on. That's unfortunate. And then again, I'm kind of a narrow focus guy. Casey came to me with the idea. I said, Casey, that's a great idea. Implement it. Put some program guidelines together. Get everybody on board who wants to be on board, and bam, it's done. That's the way I like to make decisions. Is it a good decision for the firm? Yes. Is it a good decision for the employee? Yes. Let's do it. And we make that decision and we run with it. And it's turned out to be pretty beneficial. I got to take advantage of it, so it worked for me.
Yay! And obviously there does need to be guidelines, and it works different for each company. Some will say, okay, we're going to have a set day where we basically close and everybody goes and does this, and guidelines like it has to be pre-approved, and all those things. And but it still needs to be their choice. It can't be, here's the 5 things you need to volunteer for.
Exactly.
Because sure, you're going to hit some people with some of those, but not all of them. And you might do some things like, okay, you need to wear the branded shirt, the polo that's got the name on it, all these various things. But, it is just one of those goodwill things that makes everybody feel better. And then you can do other things like team building, Habitat for Humanity, helping out at a shelter, building a new playground, all of those various things. But, when it's the employee's choice, it needs to really be the employee's choice.
I'll be honest with you, I think the new team building approach is going to be escape rooms for businesses.
I know. Those are fun. I really,
those are a blast. I love those, but I've done them with my wife and kids, but never did a team building approach with, the attorneys. And it would be kind of scary, I guess. What if one of them doesn't perform so well? You're like,
I know. Well, and here in Atlanta, we have business associations. We have a chamber, but I mean, there's so many people that we have these smaller entities that are business associations. And just last week, they basically had field day for the business associations. And unfortunately, I was out of town, but each business association had teams. And I'm looking at the pictures thinking, oh my gosh, now this is the first time they tried it. But everybody had their shirt that said, they were with West Cobb Business Association, South Cobb Business Association, whatever. And then it looked like it really was just field day pictures. And,
Oh,
and
really?
oh my gosh, isn't that fun? You didn't have to be a board member to participate. You just had to be a member of that organization. And I thought, isn't that great? And so, you could challenge other law firms to do things like that, and then sign 900 pages of liability. But yeah, it's ways that we all come together as that team, because I think one of the problems is, I haven't been in corporate America for a long time, but it's very, there you don't always feel like a team. Or on the opposite side, when you're the one person shop or, a very small organization, again, you feel isolated. So what can you do to build, teams with your community, teams with other businesses, all those various things?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because we challenged everybody in the Tri-County area to a chili cook-off.
Oh.
And when we put it together with another event, and it was a really great idea. I got 4 law firms total. Lawyers are just kind of, and I don't want to say it, I don't want to generalize, because I don't really like that. A lot of lawyers, let's put it that way, let's paraphrase that, are sticks in the mud. They're worried about what people will think if they participate in a chili challenge. Well, you know what the people would think? The people who showed up, the public who showed up, they thought it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
The lawyers who didn't show up, you know what they do? They go to lunch and say, oh yeah, I wonder how that thing worked out, Dellutri's chili cook-off. And they didn't do anything about it, so they'll never know. It's funny you just mentioned that, though. I was thinking about this when you were talking. It's a great idea. We have a local business who has a big room. Maybe I can get attorneys to challenge us in a cornhole competition. Let's see if they can throw a beanbag. Maybe they can't get chili, but maybe they can throw a beanbag. But you know what? Raise money for charity. I just think it'd be a great idea. That's a great. So you gave me a great idea. I'm going to implement it tomorrow. Today.
And that's a simple thing that pretty much anybody can do. I mean, it's not like, some things require definite physical strengths and things like that.
Right.
So think about ways that you can get other people involved, and maybe you start small business day, and like the thing with the chili cook-off. Okay, that's great. Well, then it all goes to, say, a homeless shelter, and so you've got all of these great things, but it's part of being a good steward in your community, and I think businesses lose out on that because we get so focused on doing business that we forget that there are other things that are out there.
Right. I think it's again, but it's more important about enjoying your time outside of the office with the people you spend so much time inside the office.
Right.
I mean, every year for Christmas, we have a big Christmas party. Last year, we went and took everybody bowling. What a great day that was. We had a blast. But the kids loved it. They were eating pizza, bowling, throwing the ball. Like, it was just, it was amazing, fun time. And it's like those times you wish you had more of, because you do spend so much time together with these people at the office. And then everybody goes their separate way at 5 o'clock, back tomorrow morning. And, so I think it's personally important to do that. A lot of lawyers don't think so. And again, I think they need to change their mindset about where they want their practice to go, because you demand loyalty as an employer, but are you really giving the same thing back?
Right.
I guess the biggest thing you can ask your staff is, tell me what you think about that. They'll tell you, but how many lawyers actually ask other people what they think?
Right.
It's rare. It's unfortunate too.
Oh, yeah.
I just think as a profession, lawyers need to lighten up and have more fun. I really think that. And we've found that when we loosen up the ties and take the jackets off, we can have some good fun together. And it's harmless, but we can't be worried about what other law firms will think of us. Who cares?
Yeah, and your people too.
I personally don't.
And
Anyway,
yeah,
my 2 cents.
it is hard when people have perceptions, like, and there are definitely certain industries where we always think, oh, they should be above all of that. Lawyers, doctors, CPAs. I mean, all of that, those, but they are people too. And it's fun when we see them kind of loosen the collars, take off the ties, and do those things. And especially if they're doing it for the community, because then you're thinking, okay, they are an important part of the community. They care about it, and maybe it's something much smaller. Maybe it is that you serve on the board of the chamber or whatever. And it is tricky when you are a person who bills by the hour and bills a fairly substantial amount by the hour. But it's worth it, because just because you're not having somebody write you a physical check for that hour, it's still going to come back to you if you've thought about it. And that's where, it's like we were saying, what are your goals? I mean, if your goals are to, maybe you're, in a law firm that works with, as you said, personal injury. Okay, well, maybe we want to get involved with Children's Hospital, or, something that might tie into your mission and your vision. But it really, and then of course we have that tricky little thing of making sure that it doesn't look too self-serving.
Correct.
And that's always hard. And so that's the importance of spending the time and thinking it through, talking to others. If you don't have staff, mastermind groups, other people in your industry, the dog, the cat, they might not respond too much. I mean, my cat looks at me and goes, but the other people that I talk to might actually give me some good feedback. And the important thing is, as we said, it's got to be somebody you trust. It's really got to be somebody who's going to tell you, Deb, that's the stupidest idea in the world. And for me,
I hear that on a daily basis.
Well, and for me to go, okay, and not now, it might hurt my feelings a little bit, especially if I'm thinking this is a really cool thing. But at the same point, we get caught up in, we think it's the greatest thing in the world, and people are like, no. I still wonder what would have happened years ago if somebody had told their mastermind group, I'm going to sell a rock, and I'm going to call it a pet rock. And make, however, and it's funny, since you're not on Facebook, there's been a meme that's been going around that says, don't ever think that your goals are too audacious. After all, there's somebody who's a millionaire who invented a pool noodle. You know what? They've got a point.
I agree.
Yeah.
Again, I like the part you said about, people are going to tell you your idea is bad. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I got over that a long time ago.
Yeah.
They don't even worry about hurting my feelings, because they know I'm just going to walk away and I'm going to come back with another idea and say, what about this one?
Yeah. Well, or maybe that one needs tweaked.
Yeah, and they'll tell me that too. But I know they've got my best interest at heart. And if they're telling me no, it's a solid no.
Right.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
No, we're not all going hot air balloon racing. No.
That would be a bad idea.
Right.
But otherwise, no, it's good to have those people in your life. And if you don't, you got to find one. You really got to find one to bounce ideas off of. And you can't be afraid, because for years, even when I started my business 20 years ago, I was afraid to get a mentor, because I'm like, well, this guy, I don't want this guy or woman to think I'm a failure. That's the dumbest thing in the world. And I had to learn to get over that and say, you know what? If you want your business to be where you want it, talk to somebody who's done it already. Because you going out and making mistakes is a good idea. But let's say you can get rid of half the mistakes. Okay. What if you can get rid of 75% of those mistakes? Well, let's face it, 20 years ago, it was which yellow book you were going to be in. Nowadays, you had one channel to get your message out, or you got TV or radio. You had 3 alternatives. Now you've got 100,000 to get your message out. And you got to, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's as business evolves, you've got to evolve with the business. And the best advice I think I got was, if you're going to make $1 million in sales, you got to have one skill set. If you want to get to 3 million, you're going to need a new skill set. You want to get to 5 million, you're going to need a new skill set. And if you want to go to 10 million, you're going to need a totally new skill set. Who's going to be that person? Well, if it's not you, who's it going to be? Somebody's got to take it to the next level. And that is kind of, I guess that's that advice that but it hits you right between the eyes, and you're like, wow, yeah, that makes blinding flash of the obvious.
Right.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, it lights a fire under me, and I can't sit still till I get that done. And I know I'm in position to move forward. But it's funny because 20 years ago when I started my practice, I didn't have a plan.
No.
Now I do.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan helps. Now, do we stay on plan? Never.
No.
Plan changes.
Right. But
Tomorrow
it's
the
not
plan
make
might
the
change.
plan,
But
put it in a notebook and leave it on the counter either.
no, bad idea.
Right.
But otherwise, I guess the goal for me is to kill out with our attorneys, younger attorneys. Look, don't worry about it. You're going to make mistakes, but it's okay. Older attorneys, it's not too late to get that quality of life you've always wanted. You could just change a few things and don't be afraid.
Right.
Because at the end of my life, I don't want to be laying there saying I wish I worked harder. I want to get back at the end of life and say, damn, I did it right. I did it good. I'm happy. And I check out, I'm checking out of the hotel saying, I did good. It was a good stay.
Right.
That's really what you want.
Right. We don't want to say, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
You get to the pearly gates. How was it?
Fine. I did life fine. Yeah,
Right.
I love this. Remember the old saying, you know what? A good friend is the one who will bail you out of jail after a good night of fun. But your best friend is the one who'll be sitting next to you going,
They're in there going,
damn, we had a good night last night. So you think about it, get that mentor who becomes a best friend and do it right.
Right.
Enjoy the ride. It's crazy. It's a roller coaster, but own it and move on. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about what other people think.
Right. Oh, yeah, we do.
do
We
that.
get so caught up in what are they going to think about me? Right.
Right.
Well,
And I guess that's why I stay off social media.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. So, well, oh my gosh, Carmen, this has been so much fun. And so we need to do it again. But, and we kind of wandered off on some tangents here and there, but it's been great. But tell people how they find you and connect with you.
I guess I got a pretty unique name. Carmen Dellutri is pretty unique. There's not many Carmen Dellutris out there. But if you Google Dellutri Law Group or Carmen Dellutri, I'll pop up. You can find me there. I'm in Fort Myers, Florida is my main office, but we have offices throughout Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Port Charlotte, Naples. We get around quite a bit. But, if anybody needs me, just reach out to the firm. I'm always here. I get back to you. Whatever I can do to help anybody, I'm more than happy to help.
Does it have to be somebody in Florida, or can you work with people everywhere?
I can, to be honest with you, I can't file
and
lawsuits
I shouldn't say work
outside.
with.
Yeah, I can't file lawsuits outside the state of Florida, but I do have clients who started in Florida and have moved away. So there's ethical guidelines you have to follow, but that's really not a big deal. But I like to work with, Florida residents because I can't really go to Atlanta. I'm not licensed in Georgia. But the point of it is, if you need an attorney in Florida and you have a question, we offer a free consultation to anybody who's willing to knock on our door. And I just think that's the right way to do it.
Great. Well, and, I was checking out your website, which is, again, DellutriLawGroup.com. And you've got a blog on there, and it's got great tips for anybody, no matter where you are. I love the one that you had on there about don't go crazy on Amazon Prime Day. Be proud of me. I ordered one thing and then I actually returned it. But yeah, lots of great tips on there, no matter where you live, and on a variety of subjects. So it was fun just to kind of scroll through and read some of the articles.
Yeah, that idea came from a very special person who said, Carmen, did you know Amazon Prime Day is coming up? Now, again, you're going to laugh at me when I say this. I've never been on Amazon and bought anything. I know it's just
You're
not
a
my thing.
troglodyte. Oh my gosh.
I'm trying. I'm a dinosaur. I still write letters on pad and paper just because my brain thinks that way. It thinks better. Plus, by the time I got on Amazon, I found what I was looking for, and then I tried to get it and order it. I'd either have to call my wife, my office manager, my marketing director, somebody. They'll do it in 2 seconds and get it done, and it'll be here tomorrow. So forget about it. It's just not good use of my time.
I love it.
No.
I love it. Well, oh my gosh, Carmen, we are at the top of the hour. So what final thoughts would you like to leave everyone with?
I think my final thought is I'm so happy you're doing this to help small businesses out there. Your podcast is excellent.
Thank you.
Love it. I think it's great. But I think the way you're helping people in this manner is awesome because they're getting quality information, they're getting value from it, and it's something they learn each time you do a podcast that they can implement right away. An idea, a spark. I mean, I've got the cornhole idea. I'm going to run with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think in just 1 hour, how many ideas could be generated that could help that business owner become the next millionaire?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wonderful you're doing that. I think it's great. I think you're using a great medium and you're excellent at it. You're a great interviewer, honestly.
Yeah,
So
I have a ton of fun doing it. Obviously, I enjoy this. And I'm like you. I get something out of every single guest I talk with, which that's what makes it fun for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just see it. Your just exuberance is just like pouring over. This is if there was a thing that was perfectly made for you, I think this would be it.
Yeah. It's a shame I'm so shy and withdrawn.
Yeah, no, I can't believe it.
Well, Carmen, we definitely have to do this again because it has been absolutely wonderful. And I think we could find probably 50, 60 more subjects to talk about at least.
At least.
So we will definitely do it again. But until then, I'm Deb Creer. I've been having a really wonderful time talking with Carmen Dellutri from the Dellutri Law Group. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer. Join us next time for more real-life stories and techniques to power up your business.
You've been listening to C-Suite Radio. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.